Atithi is a short story written by the famous poet and short story writer, the Nobel Prize winner Rabindranath Tagore. So what is Atithi about? So Atithi, the story, the main protagonist in this story is a young boy. His name is Tarapad. So in Bengali we pronounce it otherwise Tarapodo, but in Hindi or in English you all will pronounce it as Tarapad. So he is a young boy, he is a Brahmin boy, and he is a free spirited boy. He doesn't like to be entangled in relationships. So the wanderlust in him makes him leave one place after a brief stay. So he keeps on shifting his places of residence, means he lives with certain people and after that he leaves that place and goes. And another trait of his character is that he is full of curiosity, he is eager to learn, and his nature is very pleasant. He makes himself endeared before the people around him. Wherever he goes he becomes a favorite. People love him, they want to keep him with them, but he breaks all the shackles of these emotional ties and goes on his way. So this is what the story is about. Atithi, he is as if a guest for a brief period and then he leaves and goes. That means he likes to lead the life on his own terms. He doesn't like to be dictated by the norms of family, society. They don't hold much importance for him. They are unable to keep him restricted within their bounds. Somehow or the other, he breaks these emotional ties and goes his way. It's a very lengthy story, so I will not do it in one sitting. I will break it into parts. Otherwise, I know you all will also get bored. Yes, but before I start, you know what's coming. If you have not subscribed to my channel up till now, please do. And yeah, this will be a lengthy one, and as I told you, it will be in parts. So what are we waiting for? Let's start. So Atithi, what is the meaning of Atithi? In Hindi also we use the word Atithi, in Bengali we use it. Atithi means guest. So there is one Sanskrit line, Atithi Devo Bhava, that means Atithi was considered as a guest. Though nowadays they feel scared when they see guests coming. Nowadays it's not that Atithis are considered to be gods. Nowadays it is said guests are pests. Anyway, jokes apart, let's start with the story. Motilal Babu. This is a translation from Bengali, so the names will be typically Bengali. Motilal Babu, Zamindar of Kathalia. So this was written in Tagore's time, so Kathalia, we don't know whether that place exists or it has been replaced with a different name, but that time the name was Kathalia, and who was the Zamindar of that place? Motilal Babu. Was returning home with his family by boat. So not those small boats, big boats. The zamindars had big boats with huge sails. So he was returning from somewhere. His family was there in the boat along with all the servants and all, the cook, the servants, and maybe a few flatterers also. Zamindars were always accompanied by these type of people. One afternoon he moored the boat near a riverside market so that their meals could be prepared. So where did he anchor the boat, or was the boat anchored? Beside a riverside market. And why? To prepare their lunch. A Brahmin boy came over and asked, "Where are you going, Babu?" The boy was not more than 15 or 16. So a young boy, 15 or 16 years old, and he comes and inquires, where is the boat? What is the destination of the boat? Where is it heading for? Kathalia, replied Motilal Babu. Could you drop me at Nandigram on the way? Nandigram, many of you might be familiar, especially those residing in West Bengal. My viewers from West Bengal, you all must be aware. Nandigram was in the news for the last few years, political reason. So, could you drop me at Nandigram on the way? So, he wants a lift. Motilal Babu consented. What's your name? So, he agreed. What's your name? Tarapad, said the boy. The fair-skinned boy was beautiful to look at. His smile and his large eyes had the grace of youth. His body, bare except for a stained dhoti, was free of any excess, as if lovingly carved by a sculptor, or as if in a previous birth he had been a young sage, whose pure religious devotion had removed all grossness, honed him to gleaming Brahmanical perfection. So this full paragraph is devoted to the physical description of Tarapad. He is divine looking, he is a Brahmin boy, and what is he wearing? Just a dhoti, that also not very clean, it's stained. So his upper part is bare, upper part of his body is bare, and it shows that there is not an excess amount of fat on his body, very as if a sculptor has carved his body. So no excess, and not only that, the smile, such an infectious smile, leaving an impression on the viewers, making them fall in love with this fellow, and the eyes full of the grace of youth, very youthful eyes. Come and wash, Baba, said Motilal Babu tenderly. You can eat with us. So Motilal Babu invites him to have his meals with them. That means he has got impressed by the appearance, the pure and Brahmanical appearance of this boy. Impresses Motilal Babu. So he offers him the meal. Motilal's servant was Hindustani. He was not very good at cutting up fish. Tarapad took over and soon had the dish ready and had cooked some vegetables too with practiced skill. So Tarapad seems as if to be an all-rounder. The Hindustani cook did not know very well how to cook, how to cut fish, so he did the job. He helped in the cooking. Very soon he was ready with the dish made with the fish. He was very soon ready with it. So chopping the vegetables and cooking them and all that. So he was a very good helping hand. He then took a dip in the river. So he went for a bath in the river, and opening his bundle produced a clean white garment and a small wooden comb. So though at that time he was wearing a stained dhoti, but he brought a clean dress from his bundle and also a wooden comb. That means he took his bath, he changed his dress into a clean one and then combed his hair. He sleeked his long hair away from his forehead down to his neck. So he had long hair up till his neck, adjusted his glistening sacred thread. Sacred thread of the Brahmins, we call it Janeu in Hindi, and in Bengali we call it poite. So that is the when a Brahmin boy becomes actually Brahmin boy, there is an Upanayan ceremony or a sacred thread ceremony performed, maybe at the age of 9 or 11 or 13, and at the latest by 15, when he is given this sacred thread, and then he becomes a Brahmin, means Dvij. Dvij means double birth. So this is his second birth. So this boy, being a Brahmin, he had his sacred thread, and it was a clean one. And after that he gets into the boat. He stepped onto the boat. Motilal Babu invited him into the cabin. So who else were in his family? Apart from Motilal Babu, there was his wife Annapurna and his daughter Charu, 9-year-old daughter. His wife Annapurna was tenderly attracted to the boy when she saw him and wondered, whose child is he? Where has he come from? How could his mother bear to abandon him? She placed mats for Motilal and the boy to sit side by side. The boy was not a big eater. Annapurna felt he must be shy and tried to get him to eat this or that, but when he had finished, he would not be tempted to more. He clearly did everything according to his own wishes, but with such ease that there was nothing assertive about him. He was not at all shy. So Annapurna Devi, she immediately became attached to this boy, and she thought that whose child was he. That means she kept wondering. These thoughts troubled her, that how could his mother bear his absence. He had it is clear that he had left his home. So what about the mother? The mother, how must she be feeling? How did she feel the separation with her child? And then she made him sit beside Motilal Babu and offered him the food. But once the boy had his full, he would not be tempted. She tried to give him this one delicacy or the other, but no. He was a boy of principle, not that I am getting so much food, so let me fill my stomach with it. No, he was not that type. He was not a greedy one. He led a restricted life, and whatever he did, it was according to his own will. He could not be tempted. So he had a mind of his own, but he did it without being rude. If he said no, he is not going to eat, he wouldn't eat anymore. And however much Annapurna Devi tried to tempt him, but no, he did not accept anything else. But he was not being rude. He was just like that. He had his own mind. When everyone had eaten, Annapurna sat him next to her and asked him about his background. So she tried to know more about his background, from where he came, which family he belonged to, how many brothers and sisters, did he have were his parents alive. So these were the questions maybe she wanted to know from him. She didn't gather much, but he didn't give her much information. All she could establish was that the boy had run away from home of his own volition at the age of 7 or 8. At this moment he is 15 or 16. But when he was 7 or 8 years, since then only he has been a wanderer, leading the life of a wanderer. So this wanderlust in him, the desire not to stay in one particular place for a long time, to leave that place and go for further places, to explore the world. So Annapurna Devi was not very successful in getting much information. The only information she got was that he had run away of his own will, not that he was tortured in the family or a stepmother or something, nothing like that. He left because he just wanted to explore the world, see the world around him. Isn't your mother alive? Asked Annapurna. She is, said Tarapad. Doesn't she love you? Asked Annapurna. Tarapad seemed to find this question peculiar. What a strange question. Why shouldn't she love me? He said, laughing. That means she loved him. Then why did you leave her? So how could you leave your mother when she loved you? Many times when the child gets beaten up by the parents and then they run away from their homes. But he had no particular reason to leave his home, and yet he had left it some 7 to 8 years ago, when he was barely 7 or 8 years. So a life of uncertainty, and he had embraced that life, where he would live, from where he would get food. Without thinking of all these, he left his home, but he managed. And he was his presence was such an attractive presence that people immediately got drawn towards him. She has 4 more sons and 3 daughters. So that means they are 5 sons or 5 brothers in all, including Tarapad. They are 5 brothers and 3 sisters. So even if I go, what's the harm? She has 4 more sons to love and 3 more daughters to love. Tarapad was young, so his life story was brief, but the boy was a complete original. So you wouldn't find another one like him. He was very different. He was his parents' 4th son and was still a baby when his father died. Despite there being so many in the house, Tarapad was the darling of all. So despite they being 8 brothers and sisters in all, 8 siblings in all, but he was the favorite. He was the apple's eye of everyone in his family and in the neighborhood. Mother, brothers, sisters, and neighbors doted on him, they adored him. So much so that his tutor never bet him. Everyone would have been appalled if he had. So, even his tutor, that means the teacher who came to teach him, he also didn't beat him. And if he had beaten him, others would have been shocked. How could he beat Tarapad? He never gave anyone any offense. He never gave anyone any reason to be beaten. And naturally, he was the darling of everyone, all the people around him. Half-starved boys who constantly stole fruit from trees were thrashed by the owners of the trees. They never strayed from the village or their scolding mothers. So he did not have any reason to leave. Then why did he leave his home? Everyone loved him, and yet he left his home, he left the neighborhood. Boys who did not get proper food to eat, who stole fruits, they were beaten up by the owners of the gardens and all that, but they also never left their homes. They had reasons to leave their homes, but they never left their homes. Then why did Tarapad, who was the darling of the village, who was the most doted person in the village and the family, then why did he leave? But this darling of everyone joined a touring Jatra troupe and left his village without a thought. Jatra troupes are those open air theatres, and they don't stay in one place. They would go from one place to the other performing, one village to another. They would stay there for several days, perform, and then leave, pack all their belongings and leave for another village. So a Jatra troupe had come into his village and he had gone along with them. No emotional ties attached. He is as if a monk from birth. So he leaves. No emotional bondings, no ties, though they love him so much. Search parties went out. This is when the first time he had left the village. This was the first time. Search parties went out and he was brought back. Yeah, so the family sent search parties and he was found out and he was brought back home. His mother pressed him to her breast and drenched him with tears. His sisters wept too. His elder brother tried to perform his duty as guardian, but he soon abandoned his feeble attempts at discipline and welcomed him back with open arms. So when he returned, how did his mother react? She held him close to her breast and cried. The sisters cried. The eldest brother, who was once the father died, the elder brother was the head of the family. So he tried to be strict. He made weak attempts to be strict and discipline him. Why did you leave home? Next time you leave home na. But then he gave up the idea or gave up the attempt. Why? Because Tarapad was such a darling that the thought of scolding him was ridiculous. So what did his elder brother do? He tried in the beginning to be strict, but then welcomed him with open arms. They were also happy to get him back, but they didn't know that this would continue. He would again leave. Women invited him to their houses, plied him with greater displays of affection, but he would not accept ties, even ties of love. His stars had made him a wanderer. Yes, the stars had made him a wanderer, as if he was a wanderer by birth. Because a boy of 7 or 8 years, that he should leave home and go to explore the world. He was a born wanderer. No emotional ties, no bonds of affection and love. They could not restrict him, they could not hold him back. If he saw strange boats on the river, or a sannyasi from a distant region under the local peepal tree, or if gypsies sat by the river making mats or wicker baskets, his heart would stir with longing to be free, to explore the outside world. So what are the things which would make him long for freedom? When he saw the sannyasi has cut all his ties with the materialistic world and given himself up to the service of God. So whenever Tarapud would see a sannyasi, his heart would long for freedom. When he saw these gypsies don't stay in one place for long. They come, they put their tents, they stay there temporarily, and then after some time they leave and go. And same for the boats. He saw the boats on the river, the boats where they are going. So he would want to be like the boats from one place to the other. And after he had run away 2 or 3 times, family and villagers gave up hope. So twice and thrice. That was the first time when search parties were sent, and 2 or 3 times he made attempts and he was brought back. But then the villagers realized that he is incurable. You cannot cure him of his wandering habit, of his wanderlust. So they gave up. He is not for the family. He cannot stay in the family. He will come and then he will go again. Even if you bring him back, after a short time he will again make an attempt and leave the family and go. Again he joined a Jatra troupe at first. This is the second time. But when the master of the troupe began to treat him almost as a son, and the members of the troupe, young and old, had all fallen for him, and even the people in the houses where they performed, especially the women, began to make a special fuss of him, one day, without saying a word, he disappeared and could not be found. So he did not like people getting attached to him, because these were like shackles. The Jatra troupe's owner, he treated him as his own son, but his presence, his appearance, his behavior was such that everyone loved him. Whoever he came in touch with loved him. But he did not want to be bound with these ties of love and emotions, because that would be an impediment in his wanderlust. So when he found these ties are getting too strong, the house where they performed, even the family members of that house, they fussed, the women they fussed. So he thought, it's enough. It is time for me to bid goodbye to these people. So one day he was not to be found. He had disappeared. Why? Because he did not want the strongs of affection and love to get more, the ties of love and affection to get strong, so that they could hold him back. So yes, he cuts all these ties and leaves and goes. Tarapad was as wary of ties as a young fawn, and was also like a deer in his love for music. So young fawn, it keeps on running from one place to the other. So same for him. He also loved going from one place to the other, not remaining in one place for a long time. And he loved music as a deer loves. No idea, I never thought a deer loves music. But anyway, Rabindranath Tagore says that. So through this, what do we get to know? That he was very fond of music. The songs of the Jatra were what had first lured him away from home. Remember, first also he had gone at the age of 7 or 8. What had attracted him to the Jatra troupe? The songs. And because of the songs he had left. So family life, mother, brothers, sisters, they didn't mean anything to him. Melodies sent a trembling through his veins, and rhythms made his body swing. So the effect of music on Tarapad. Impelled by his passion for music, it was not long before he had joined a group of Panchali singers. So Panchali, they are, the Bengalis would know it better. This is a Bengali term. Means the stories of gods and goddesses which we recite when we sit down to pray. When we sit down to pray, worship God, then these Panchalis are sung. So he joined a group of these Panchali singers. It's not Panchali, it's Panchali. The leader of the group carefully taught him songs and trained him to recite Panchali. Rather than songs, they are more recited by heart. So you have to learn them by heart, and then you will automatically get into the rhythm of it. He too began to love him as his own. So this Panchali singer, leader of this group, he also started treating him as his own son. So wherever he goes, they try to treat him as the own son, and then he realizes, no, it is getting tough for me, I have to leave and go. They have started loving me so much that it is becoming suffocating for me. Maybe the ties will become so strong that I won't be able to cut them. So moment he realizes that the emotional bondings are getting tougher, becoming stronger, he runs, he leaves and runs. Like a pet cage bird, Tarapad learnt a few songs and then one morning flew away. So the birds in the cage, they are in the cage, they are given good food, they are loved. But the bird does not enjoy the life in the cage, and the moment they find a chance to escape, they run away. He was like that. You could not keep him in a cage as if for long. So these emotional bondings were like a cage. So he was just ready to find an opportunity to run away, to fly away. Finally, he joined a troop of gymnasts from Jesht to Ashad. So these are the Indian months, Jesht, Ashad, Bengali months also. Jesht means 15th of May to 15th of June, approximately. And Ashad is the rainy season, month for rains. Ashad again 15th of June to 15th of July approximately. It can be 14th, it can be 16th. A fair toured the district. So there was a fair. Fair means mela, that. Okay. Jatra troops, Pachali singers, bards, dancers and stall holders travel by boat from one side to another. So yes, the fair filled with all these stalls, stall holders come and then they position themselves in the fair. For the second year running, this round of entertainment included a small gymnastic troupe from Calcutta. So that time this place was pronounced as Calcutta, and now we have gone back to the original, it's Kolkata. But when Rabindranath Tagore wrote, this place was pronounced as Calcutta, the name the Britishers had given. At first, Tarapad joined the stall holders, sold pan. Pan means betel leaf, pan at the fair. But then his natural curiosity drew him to the wonderful skills of the gymnasts and he joined their troupe. Then the gymnastic group attracts his attention, so he joins their group. And he can learn things so easily that wherever he goes, he finds a job for himself to feed him and to provide him with a shelter. So he is never at a loss where to find my food, where to stay. People are ready with open arms. He had taught himself to play the flute very well. During the gymnastic display, he had to play Lucknow Thumris at top speed on the flute. This was his only task. So what was his only task in the gymnastic troupe? To play the flute. What tune would he play? Lucknow Thumris. It was from this group that he had most recently absconded, and at this moment he had run away from this gymnastic troupe. He had heard that the zamindars at Nandigram had founded on a lavish scale an amateur jatra group, not the professional one. Opposite of professional is amateur. So hearing this, what did he do? He tied up his bundle and headed for the place. So leaving the gymnast group, he heads for Nandigram. Why? Because he had heard that the zamindar of Nandigram had founded a amateur jatra troupe. So he said, now I go to Nandigram. And it is then he met Motilal Babu on the way, and that is why he had asked for that lift. He wanted to be dropped at Nandigram. Despite these connections with various groups, his nature had not been corrupted by any. So in these groups there would be people who had bad qualities, vicious tendencies, but in spite of that he was not corrupted. He remained that angelic person that he was. He was deep down entirely detached and free from the vices. The foul language he had heard, the dreadful sights he had seen had not fixed themselves in his mind. So the bad language, the cheap and foul language used by many members in the jatra troupe or the gymnastic troupe or in the places through which he had lived, and the horrible scenes which he might have seen, some fights and all that, but they had made no impression on his mind. So he remained as angelic, as divine as ever, as pure as ever. They passed him by, so they were not successful in making an impression on him. He remained unbound by any kind of habit or custom. So any kind of habit or custom was unable to make any effect on him. He swam in the murky rivers of the world with pure white wings like a swan. So suppose a swan is swimming in the dirty waters of the pond, but the swan's white color remains untouched by the dirt of the pond. He is like the swan. So around him so many foul language is used, so many dirty scenes he sees being enacted around him, but they are unable to make him corrupt, make him vile, make him vicious. No, they don't leave any impression. He remains untouched. However, many times his curiosity made him dive in. His wings could not be soaked or soiled. So though because of his curiosity, he went and joined these groups, but in spite of it, like the swan, his wings never got wet. So he is being compared to the swan who swims in the pond without soiling its wings and its body. There was a pure and natural innocence in this runaway boy's expression. So his expression, facial expression, which endears him to the others. So what was it? There was a natural innocence in him. And naturally, people got attracted. It drew people towards him. So much so that the worldly wise Motilal Babu invited him without doubt or question and with great tenderness. So that is the reason why when he asks for a lift from Motilal Babu, without thinking twice, he offers him the hospitality. He accepts his request and he offers him the meal, allows him in the boat. People would think twice before accepting the request and also extending an invitation. But his face was so divine, so pure, so angelic, that he welcomed him with tenderness instead of being suspicious. He might steal our belongings and run away one day. No, these thoughts did not enter his mind because of the pure and innocence of this boy, because of the purity and innocence that were in his facial expression. In the afternoon, the boat set sail. So the boat starts after they had their lunch. Annapurna continued to ask the boy kind questions about his home and family. He answered laconically and then went out on the deck to escape. So Annapurna Devi, the mother's heart, so she keeps on probing about his family. She wants to know more, but he answers one or two and then he doesn't really like it. So what does he do? In order to escape these questions, he goes out on the deck. Tarapad took refuge on the roof of the boat in the shade of the sail. So where did he take shelter? Away from Annapurna Devi's questions, on the roof of the boat and in the shade of the sail. Sloping pastures, flooded jute fields, green rippling late autumn paddy, narrow paths leading from the ghats and villages shaded by encircling foliage came one by one into view. So Rabindranath Tagore has an eye for descriptions. He loves to describe nature. In his short stories, if you have read any, you will find how nicely, how apt he is in his description of nature. To this water, earth and sky, this movement of life and sound, these varied levels and vast vistas, to this huge, immovable, mute, unblinking natural world, the boy was intimately linked. The boy was not linked to the humans, but he was linked to the world. All the nature, he was linked to nature. He was as if a nature's child. As he sat, he soon got talking with the helmsman and also he mixes with everyone. He comes in contact with, he mixes with everyone, he interacts with everyone. But there is no depth. Sometimes he took the oars and punted the boat himself. So he is always ready to help others. So he took the oars and punted the boat himself, and he is eager to learn. Whatever he doesn't know and he sees, he is eager to learn. When the helmsman needed a smoke, he would take the tiller. When the sail needed to be turned, he helped skillfully. So whenever help was needed, a helping hand was needed, he was there to offer his. Just before dusk, Annapurna called Tarapad and asked, "What do you like to eat at night?" Whatever I get, what a nice answer. This is true. He is a wanderer. So whatever he gets on his way, he doesn't have these fusses. Oh, at night I eat this, and at morning I eat this, or at lunch I eat this. Whatever comes his way, he accepts it. He is like the sannyasi. I don't eat every day. Yeah, sometimes he doesn't get food every day. She felt disturbed by this beautiful Brahmin boy's indifference to her hospitality. She's trying to be hospitable towards him, but he is indifferent to it. It doesn't affect him in any way. Oh, she's so good, she's so hospitable towards me. No. She longed to feed, clothe and give succor to him, but she could not discover how to please him. She tried her best to please him, but he remained just indifferent. Like he is as if a stoic, indifferent to pleasure and pain. So she ostentatiously sent her servants to buy milk and sweets. So she wants to please him by offering him milk or sweets. So she sends her servants, "Go bring milk and sweets for Tarapad." When these are brought, she offers them to him. So what does he do? Tarapad ate the sweets willingly enough. That means he loves sweets. He is fond of sweets. But he would not touch the milk. No, nothing doing. I am not going to drink milk. Even the taciturn Motilal urged him to drink it, but he simply replied, "I don't like it." So even at the request of Motilal Babu, the tough person, he gives a simple answer without any offense that I don't like milk. Motilal Babu must have said, "Tarapad, drink the milk. She has got it with such care for you." But then it's just a simple answer, "I don't like milk." 3 days passed. In this way, 3 days passes. Tarapad expertly joined in everything, from cooking and shopping to the sailing of the boat. So wherever the boat stops, it anchors, he goes shopping to bring the food ingredients which are to be cooked. He goes and helps in the cooking. So wherever any help is needed, he is there. Anything he saw interested him. Any work that he did absorbed him. So whatever work he did not do it half-heartedly. If he did it with care, fully absorbed in it. His sight, his hands and his minds were ever active. That means he was not a lazy boy living on the hospitality of the Zamindar's family. No. If he received the hospitality, he gave 100% more in return. If they offered him 10%, he gave 100% in return. Like nature herself, he was always serene and detached from the people around him who are ready to shower him with love, yet always busy. But detached doesn't mean that he sat in one corner and went on thinking. No, he was always active. People usually dwell in a fixed place. Yeah, we have a fondness for living in one particular place. That gives us security. But Tarapad was like a joyous wave on life's unending stream. So if life is compared to a stream, he is like a happy wave. He is just drifting from one place to the other. Past or future meant nothing. Neither does the past make him feel sorry for what he has left behind. Neither is he worried about what will happen to me in future. This is the typical sannyasi or a monk. He leads the life of a monk, but though he remains in the family life of one family or others, but mentally he is detached from all these things. Moving forward was the only thing that mattered. By mixing with various groups, he had learnt all sorts of delightful accomplishments. Yes, he has made himself rich with accomplishments. Why? Because he has come in contact with so many groups. Things were stamped on his mind with astonishing ease, unclouded as it was by any kind of worry. His mind had no worries. So whatever he saw, they were impressed in his mind. So what are the things he has accomplished? He knew Pachali, folk tales, kirtan and long pieces from jatras. So he had on account of his interaction, he had picked all these things up. He knows how to sing the kirtans, he knows how to recite the Pachali, he knows how to sing the folk tales. Motilal Babu habitually read the Ramayana to his wife and daughter. So it was Motilal Babu's habit to read the Ramayana, but now Tarapad, once he comes to see what happens. One evening he had just got to the story of Kush and Love Kush, the two sons of Lord Sri Ram, when Tarapad, unable to restrain himself, came down from the roof of the boat and said, "Put that book away. I know a song about Kush and Love. Listen." So Tarapad would take shelter on the roof of the boat to escape the questions made by Annapurna Devi. But then what happened? When Motilal Babu read the Ramayana to his wife and child, one day he could not control himself anymore and he came down and he said, "Put the book away. I know a song of love and Kush." Yeah, being in the Jatra troupe, he had learnt all of them. So he says, "I will sing a song of love and Kush. Please listen." He began a Pachali. The verse, sweet as a flute, flowed on swiftly, and he had a very sweet voice. So when he sings it, it's a pleasure to the ears. The helmsman, the oarsman came and peered through the doors. So he sings in such a melodious way that the people leave their jobs to listen. The helmsman comes, leave, and the oarsmen of the boat, they also come. They peep. They are not very comfortable to enter that cabin where Motilal Babu, the zamindar, is with his wife and daughter, but they are peeping from outside. As dusk fell, a stream of laughter, pathos and music spread through the evening air. The banks became alert. The people in passing boats were lured for a moment and strained their ears to listen. So the passing boats, the music, the song of Tarapad, it floats away from the boat to the surroundings, and the passing boats, the passengers in the passing boats, they hear the song. Oh, that song is coming from that boat. Someone is singing so melodiously, so they strain their ears to listen to the song of Tarapad. When the Pachali had finished, everyone sighed deeply. Why did it finish? They would want to listen to it more and more, wishing it would last forever. So what an impression he had created on his listeners. The tearful Annapurna longed to take the boy and press him to her breast and bury her face in his hair. So she had become so emotional, she had wanted to embrace him, hug him tightly. Motilal Babu thought, if I could somehow keep this boy, he would make up for my having no son. So he had only one daughter, he had no son. So when he sees this boy singing, and it leaves such an impression, he becomes so fond of this boy that he feels that if only I can keep him in my house, then he will compensate for my not having any son. I will make him his son, I will adopt him as my son. The little Charu Shashi though was full of envy and jealousy. So everyone loves him, but there is one person who is full of jealousy, who is very envious. Why? Because all the attention is showered on, because of all the attention that is showered on Tarapad. She feels, oh, no one is bothering about me. My mother loves him so much, my father loves him, I am their only daughter. Up till now they had doted on me, and now they are doting on a stranger whom they barely know. So 9-year-old girl, she was her parents' only child, sole claimant on their affection. So yes, she is very possessive, she is very jealous. So I am their only daughter, so all their love and attention should be on me, not that stranger boy. There was no end to her willfulness and obstinacy. So she was a spoiled child. Being the only daughter in those days, only child in those days meant a great thing. Nowadays though, in your families you all must be the only son or the only daughter and it's no big deal. But in those times it meant really, oh, he's the only son, oh, he's the only daughter. Because in those days families, they had a line of children, maybe 7, 8, 9, maybe 13, 14 also. One wife dies and then marrying another and again another list. And in those times one daughter was something special. So she was a spoiled child. She was very obstinate, stubborn girl, willful. Whatever she wanted she would do. She had her own opinions about food, clothes and hairstyles, but there was no consistency in them. So if her mother told her to wear a red dress, and then she would say, no, I am going to wear the green one. I love green. Green is my favorite color. Today she might say this, and tomorrow again when the mother offered her the green one, she would say, no, I want the red one. Red is my favorite color. So no consistency. But she was a master of, she had her own opinions regarding food and clothes. I will eat this food only, not that. This is my favorite food. And tomorrow only she would be wanting something else. So no consistency, but she would take her own decisions. A stubborn, willful girl. Whenever she was invited out, her mother was terrified that she would make impossible demands over dress. So when they had to attend an invitation, the mother was scared. Now she would want such a dress that was very impossible to provide. If her hairstyle displeased her, to do and redo it made no difference and merely led to a tantrum. This hairstyle, I don't like it. So again, oh, this one? No, this one I don't like. So do it again. And no, this one also I am not happy with it. So the mother would be scared. She was like this with everything. So not only regarding food or hairstyles or dress, everything. But if she was in a good mood, she was amenable to anything and would show excessive love for her mother, hugging her, kissing her, laughing in an unbalanced way. The girl was a puzzle. So girl was very enigmatic. You did not know whether she was in a good mood or a bad mood. When she was in a good mood also, she would act strangely. But now her volatile feelings began to concentrate in fierce animosity towards Tarapad. So yes, fierce animosity. She becomes very bitter towards Tarapad. Why? Because he has stolen all the love and affection of her parents. She is not ready to share the love of her parents with anyone else, and that to a stranger. And she caused exceptional trouble to her parents. At meals she scowled and pushed her plate away. She would complain about the cooking, slap the maid and object to everything. So she would throw tantrums. The more that Tarapad's accomplishments impressed her and others, the more angry she became. So it's not that Tarapad's accomplishment did not impress her. She was impressed, but she would not show it. But others, they showed their admiration for Tarapad. Their admiration for Tarapad, when they showed it openly, she would resent it. She would not admit that he had any virtues at all, though she knew he was virtuous, but openly she would say he had no virtues. Undeniable evidence of them made her even more critical. But there were evidence that he was talented, he was a virtuous fellow, and that when it was said, no, he can't sing, so others said that, oh, just see how nicely he is singing, and in the heart of her hearts she also knew he was a good singer. So when these evidences were put in front of her, she would become even more bitter. On the night that Tarapad sang about love, Kush and love, Annapurna thought, wild animals can be tamed by music, so perhaps my daughter will soften. So this is Annapurna Devi's thought, that he sings so well, and music has an effect on even wild animals. In Merchant of Venice, there was a line that young colts, they would also, who would be kicking their legs and all that, but once they heard the sound of music, they would stop their kicking and neighing, and then they would listen attentively to the music. So she also thinks in that way, that if wild animals can be tamed, why not my wild daughter? In the course of time, maybe she will also be tamed. How did you like it, Charu? She asked. She gave no answer, merely tossed her head, implying, I didn't like it at all, shall never like it. Ha! So, I didn't like it. She must have liked it in her heart, but she wouldn't confess it. Realizing that Charu was jealous, her mother stopped showing affection for Tarapad in front of us. The mother understands. How can she not like Tarapad's song? It's only because she's jealous she would not admit it. And she understood that because we are paying so much attention to Tarapad, maybe it is because of that she is behaving in this jealous manner. So she did not show her love for him openly. She stopped that. After dark, when Charu had gone to bed after eating early, Annapurna would sit by the door of the cabin, and Motilal Babu and Tarapad would sit outside, and at Annapurna's request Tarapad would sing. So she started playing a little game. In front of Charu, she would not show that she loved Tarapad or she appreciated his qualities, his singing. Once Charu was in bed, she had gone to sleep, then she would tell him to sing. They would sit at the door of the cabin, and he would sit outside, and then they would listen. But that also did not help. Now what happened? With his singing, the goddess of the sleeping darkened homes on the bank would sink into a trance, and Annapurna's heart swelled with love and appreciation. So when she heard the songs of Tarapad, her heart filled with love and appreciation for this singing. But then Charu would get up and shout tearfully and angrily, Mother, I can't go to sleep with this noise. So I cannot sleep, stop that music. She found it quite unbearable to be sent to bed on her own while her parents sat and listened to Tarapad singing. So she caught the game. She understood that these people send me to sleep and then they listen to him. So she caught their game, and this made her even more angry. The natural fierceness of this fiery black-eyed girl fascinated Tarapad. But Tarapad did not feel bad. Why? The fierceness of Charu attracted him. He felt fascinated. He would tell her stories, sing her songs, play her the flute, make great efforts to win her round, but with no success at all. So he would try to please her. How? By telling her stories, singing songs, playing her the flute, making a lot of efforts to become her friend. But he did not get any success. Only in the afternoons, when he bathed in the swollen river, sporting his fair pure body in a swimming display worthy of a young water god, only then could she not help being attracted just a little bit. So when Tarapad would be swimming and bathing in the river waters, and his beautiful physique looked like a god, water god, he looked like a water god, and Charu, she would stealingly admire him. Tarapad wouldn't know, but she would be admiring him without his being aware of it. She would watch him then, but she didn't reveal her interest to anyone. But she did not tell anyone how fascinated she was by his physique and his appearance. And born actress that she was. So though in the heart of her hearts there was a place for Tarapad, but she played her part very well in showing that she detested him. But she was very possessive of him. Carried on knitting a woolen scarf with apparent indifference to Tarapad's water sports. So Tarapad would be swimming and making all sorts of energetic dives in the water. So she would be as if knitting. She is indifferent to all that he is doing. She would pretend indifference, but in reality she was attracted by his divine physique. He looked like a water god. So Tarapad has got attached to these people, So I'll stop this here. My first part will end here, and in the second part I'll proceed. I told you this is a big story, so it would take some time, at least 2 to 3 maybe videos. Then it will be evenly spaced out. Otherwise, if I cram all of them in one video, you all will get bored and you all will not view it till the end. So that's for today, and yes, wait for my next one. Wish you a very happy week ahead.